On a quiet summer night in 1912, in the small town of Villisca, Iowa, an entire household was murdered in their sleep. No one heard screaming, no one heard a struggle. By morning, 8 people were dead, and the killer had vanished. More than a century later, no one has ever been charged, and the house where it happened still stands. They hadn't spoken to each other, but their descriptions matched. That's when it stopped being imagination. In 1912, Villisca was a peaceful farming town. Fewer than 3,000 people lived there. Neighbours knew one another. Doors were often left unlocked. Violent crime was rare, almost unheard of, which is why what happened on the night of June 9th felt impossible. The home belonged to Josiah Moore, a respected local businessman. He lived there with his wife, Sarah, and their 4 children, Herman, Catherine, Boyd, and Paul. That night, 2 visiting friends were also staying over, Ina and Lena Stillinger, both young girls from a neighbouring town. 8 people slept in the house. None of them woke up. Sometime after midnight, someone entered the home. Investigators believe the killer waited until everyone was asleep. One by one, each victim was struck with the blunt side of an axe. There was no evidence of panic, no signs of resistance. It was quiet, deliberate. Afterward, the killer moved through the house. Mirrors were covered, clothes were placed over windows, and the axe, taken from the Moore family's own shed, was left behind. The next morning, a neighbour noticed the house was unusually silent. No children playing, no movement. When the door was forced open, the smell inside told the story before the bodies were seen. The entire town gathered outside. People walked through the house, touched things, looked. By the time authorities arrived, the crime scene was already compromised. The house had given up its secret, but no one preserved it. Police found clues, footprints, a slab of bacon left behind, suggesting the killer stayed after. But nothing led anywhere. There were suspects, a travelling preacher, a disgruntled former employee, even a serial killer passing through the region. Confessions were made, then retracted. Evidence was mishandled. Leads went cold. The case slowly unravelled. What unsettled investigators most was not the violence. It was the patience. The killer did not rush, did not flee immediately. They waited until the house was asleep and stayed long after it was over, which raised one question that has never been answered. If someone could do this without waking anyone, what else could they have done without being noticed? The Moore house changed hands many times. Families moved in and moved out. Some reported footsteps, others said they felt watched. The house was eventually turned into a museum. Visitors still claim something feels wrong inside. Not haunted, just unsettled. as if the house remembers what happened there. More than a century later, the Villisca Axe Murders remain unsolved. No arrests, no answers, just a quiet house that once held 8 sleeping people who never woke up. And a reminder that sometimes the most terrifying crimes are the ones committed without a sound. If this story unsettled you, you're not alone. Subscribe for more real stories that never found answers.